Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time, or outside of my YouTube, you could consider joining the Discord I created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. A lot of times people ask me what meals or what things I'm eating to help me with my weight loss, and that Pinterest board is a great place to see that. Let's see, today is day 888 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose 240 pounds so far. If anybody has any non-scale victories, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. Share your wisdom with everyone. If you're struggling with your diet, let us know what is causing your struggles. Maybe there's something we can help you with. And at the end of the day, what are some of the things that you are going to do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Gonna switch over here. Hello, Anthony, Plants Only Muncher, Linda Barb, Tennis and Yoga Girl. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, this Friday afternoon. Kind of a slow day today, with it being Good Friday. The work just seemed to be slow. The phones were slow, so it was not a busy day today. It was, but it wasn't bad. I was able to catch up a few things I needed to get done and get ready for next week. That'll be very busy again. So, I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Friday. We're gonna go ahead and go over the food since yesterday. Let me pull that up here. There we go. So last night for dinner, we had this wonderful potato soup that Carrie made. We've had it in the past. I took a few photos of it here. It was really awesome. I ended up having 2 pretty large bowls of it, and between me and Carrie, we ended up eating everything that we made, or everything that she made for us last night. But really great flavors, and maybe even a little bit different flavors than we've been having. You know, just kind of had a good taste to. Oh, you know what it was? Carrie was following the recipe with it, and it called for a lot of pepper in the recipe, and so she put it in there, and it was very peppery. That's what was that's what I remember about last night's dinner. Was it had that strong flavor, which I enjoyed, that strong flavor that it had last night. I didn't take any photos of it, but I did have some oranges, and I might have taken a photo. Yeah, so this is this is way behind. I wonder why. There we go. So this is the photo of the ice cream that we made last night. This is just pineapple and pineapple juice that we make in the Ninja Creamy. And I had that as a dessert last night, as well as some oranges. Then today, I ended up having a later lunch like I seem to always do. And I did not end up taking a photo of the broccoli that I had, but I did take a photo of my oatmeal that I ate today. I forgot that my thing was behind, so I should have hit the button. There we go. There's our oatmeal. Spinach, mushrooms, onions, oat groats, and steel cut oats. And that was breakfast today. That is all the photos of food I have. I do have my lunch sitting in front of me again today, so I'm going to maybe try to sneak some bites in as we talk today. So if anybody has any questions that they want me to answer, I'd be glad to answer any questions. But I made my lunch today, or I got my lunch together here. This was 4 or 5 potatoes and then a bag of broccoli. This is my lunch here. I put it in a clear bowl today instead of my brown bowl. That way you could see all of the food I have. This is just broccoli, potato, and there is Table Tasty as a seasoning in there that I really enjoy the Table Tasty seasoning since we've started to eat that. Linda says it looks delicious. It is, or yes, it does look delicious. I'm going to take a bite of it here. I got food all over my fork. Anyways, I'll take a bite of it here. Oh, yeah, and if you follow along and you've been watching my daily videos, my daily photos, I have been eating broccoli and potato just about every day. There's been a few gaps there where I haven't had it for a day here or there, but for the most part, I've had broccoli and potatoes probably every day for at least the last 6 months, 5-6 months. Well, so I guess that's not true. It would have been January, so it'll be 3-4 months when we started doing the Chef AJ's reboot. I believe that started in January, maybe the very end of December, but I think it was January that started. We added the huge amounts of broccoli into our diet at that time, and you'd think you get sick of it, and I just don't. And whether it has the Table Tasty in it, or it had the Kirkland seasoning salt that we used to put in it, or I eat it with no seasoning in it, I enjoy it no matter how it comes, and sometimes the potatoes are amazing, sometimes the potatoes are okay, but they're always at least okay. It's very rare that you get potatoes that don't taste great. Glow, hello. I hope you're having a great day. We're just finishing up going over food and talking about this big bowl of food I got in front of me, getting ready to eat here. I was going to do something a little bit different today than I've done in the past. One of the books I read, the first book I read to get into this. Hello, Carrie. Hope everything's going great at home and things have settled down. Carrie had all 4 kids today, and well, actually not all 4 all day, but they were home from school today, so she was dealing with running them around, getting haircuts, so everybody's ready to go for the Easter weekend. What plans do you guys have for Easter? I guess I can talk about that a little bit too. Because every time holidays come up, I know it can be difficult to go see family or be around family, and also trying to be on a diet at the same time. Hey, Janet, thank goodness it's Friday. Yes, thank goodness it's Friday. Just getting ready for that Easter weekend. For us, fortunately, we don't have to travel, or we don't travel for Easter. We stay locally, and we're going to be able to provide or bring our own food to the dinner that we're going to. So that'll help a lot with us. And then also, we've been doing this now for 888 days. So it's gotten to the point where it's part of the routine with our extended family and us going and doing events that they understand our restrictions, and we structure our parties around that. They know that if they're going to have food, if they're going to provide a bunch of food, that generally me and Carrie will take care of our family. Or we've been doing like potluck style where we all just bring what works for us. But it can be difficult with Easter and or any holiday where you're traveling, you're in the car for a long time. That can trigger a lot of the eating that you used to do. You're going to be at gas stations, maybe more in gas stations to stop to go to the bathroom, and there's lots of temptations around when you are doing that. And in order to help fight those temptations, you need to set up you need to set yourself up for success. Make sure you have a good supply of food with you while you're traveling. If you are traveling to somewhere where you're going to be staying overnight, maybe check out and see where there are actual grocery stores around where you're staying instead of looking for restaurants. And when looking for a hotel room, if you can get one that at least has a microwave, or even sometimes you can find a place that has a stove top that you can heat up food. That way you can prepare your own food. That will help a lot. You won't be relying on restaurants or fast food restaurants or convenience stores for your food. And then when you're going to an event where you're not supplying the food, you can talk to the event host and see if they are able to, provide any compliant foods, or if there's going to be compliant foods. See if they're okay with you bringing your own food if they aren't going to have compliant food. And I think a big thing with it is to eat an abundance of food before you go to the event if you're not sure what the food's going to be like when you get there, so that when you're at the event you are less likely to get hungry. And then also have a plan for after the event. Have it planned out in your head. What is going to be my next meal after the event? Is it going to be, once we get back to the hotel room, we're going to grab something? Once we get home, we're going to do something? I have stuff in my car for as soon as I leave, but have food in your future, so that when you're sitting there looking at all these tempting things and you're hungry and you're playing out in your head, okay, when am I going to eat? I need to eat. You have an answer for that question. So it's not that, so that the best choice isn't eating the junk food. The best choice is to go with your original plan. And so those are a few of the different travel kind of tips. I mean, there's all kinds of travel tips that you can use. And with all the books that I've read over the past 2.5 years, the one book by Chef AJ, The Secret to Ultimate Weight Loss, that book I feel like does a really great job talking about trying to stay compliant on a plant-based diet and traveling. She has a lot of experience with it, and it really comes across really well in that book. So if you get a chance to check out that book, that's a great place to see those types of things. So I mentioned I was going to do something a little bit different today. I need to grab this here. So one of my favorite books that I've read since starting this, and it was the first book I read since starting this, was the Pleasure Trap by Dr. Lisle and Goldhamer. Hey, Cindy, hope you're having a great day. And I really enjoy the book. I think that it does a great job explaining some of the social aspects. One of the things I really enjoyed about the book that would relate to going to Easter this weekend is when you're trying to eat healthy and eat better for yourself, and other people around you try to influence you in a way that's negative, or influence you to break your diet or eat something that's not compliant or that you don't feel is healthy. And in the book, they talk a lot about how when that person's trying to pressure you to break your diet, it says a lot about how they're feeling about themselves when they compare themselves to you, because we do that a lot. We compare ourselves to the people around us, and they see you eating well and eating healthy. Then even without you saying anything or doing anything to them, they may feel slighted. They might feel like they're in a position where they are less than you because you have the willpower to stay on your diet and they have been failing their diet, and they were on their diet for the last 3 weeks and they showed up to Easter and they broke their diet immediately. And now they see you being compliant and you doing a great job on your diet. So it makes them feel bad. So they may subconsciously try to push a food on you, or have a negative reaction to you that you don't understand why they have that reaction to you, because you didn't do anything to them. The other part with it is that you need to win those interactions. You need to come out successful in those interactions, because if you fail in that interaction, then it becomes very difficult to succeed when that comes up again. So you're doing great on your diet. Easter comes around and you end up eating the cinnamon rolls that your aunt brought and she pressured you into eating. Then you see her again at the 4th of July, and you've been compliant from Easter to 4th of July again, but then there she is again with the cinnamon rolls pressuring you again, and even can say, well, you had cinnamon rolls in April and you're fine. Why not have them again now? So it makes it hard to win that argument the next time if you lose the first time. So the great part about winning that interaction or coming out on top is that you have that as a feather in your cap for that next interaction, when you can say, well, I got through Easter, I survived without having her cinnamon rolls, I can get through the 4th of July without having their cinnamon rolls. So the Pleasure Trap book, I think, is a great book, and it does a wonderful job really laying out a lot about the psychology and some of the sociology of dieting. And because I like that book so much, I like to watch other content by those doctors. And Dr. Lisle, I've watched a video that he's done. I've watched the video a few times on the ego trap. And the video doesn't talk necessarily or specifically about the dietary ego trap or how the ego trap affects us with dieting, but it does talk about behavior and our human behavior. And I think it's great. And so what I wanted to do here was to try to do kind of a reaction thing where I'm going to watch the video with you guys, because I think it's worth sharing and worth everybody listening to. So let me go ahead and switch over here. So this is the first time I've ever done this. So you need to let me know how the audio comes through, or if I'm too loud or they're too loud or what. But this is Dr. Doug Lisle, and it is Escape the Ego Trap. And there is a link for this video down in the description below as well.
How do you get out of the ego trap? Okay. For those of you that have never heard this phrase before, the ego trap is a motivational dilemma. It's the activation of an instinct, and that instinct is the following: that if I believe that you think that I can achieve this much, this high, but I only think that I can achieve this, then it is in my best interest to not try. Okay?
And so when it comes to diet in regard to that, I feel like we do that as well. Like when we are on our diet and we're doing great, and then we realize that we aren't going to be able to continue to live up to that perfect expectation that we had in our mind to doing the diet, or that's what keeps us from even dieting in the first place, is the idea of how much effort it's going to take. It's going to take me this much effort to lose the weight, but I only have this much effort in me. So it's not even worth trying to put that effort in because it's just going to be futile.
Okay? Because if I try, I'm very likely to fall short of your expectations and therefore essentially disillusion you about my abilities. Okay? So I want you to think as highly as possible of me. So therefore, if I don't think that I can live up to expectations, the right move is to quit and not try.
And again, and we've failed diets, and we have that mindset when we look back at them. We don't want to, we don't even want to try because we have that experience of failing our previous diets.
So this is what young people will do when we praise them. So when parents start talking to me, and let me tell you something, I've had at least 50 parents give me the following soliloquy.
And I was watching this earlier, and I was thinking about, like, he's talking about child here, but what if instead of child, he was talking about the version of you that's on a diet, or your ability to diet. It's you as a dieter, not you as a child, but you as a person on a diet, and kind of how it, you know, the way he's talking about a child, how it relates to you in a diet.
I just don't know what's wrong with our son, Dr. Lisle. You know, it's always the mom, by the way. No dad is coming to me to ask me about how to raise his son. Like, he doesn't interested in some psychobabble opinion. But moms are. Moms are super worried. So they'll come to me, and they're just so worried. And he was a straight A student, and now he's flunking out of this or that. And we're just...
Again, like the diet, I don't know what's wrong. I used to be able to diet so good. I was a great dieter. You know, how many of us hold on to that last great diet that we did from 2013 until 2020? I had held on to that. I was so good at that diet. I was so good losing weight then. Why can't I be that good again? You know, and that, yeah.
Just so frustrated, and we think maybe he's into drugs, but we don't think so, and we're so upset, and we promised him everything, and we just want him to do his best, but he's really smart, Dr. Lisle. Actually, he's really brilliant, Doc. He's like a genius.
How many of us, you know, before we found eating a volume diet, or how many people are, you know, still like at 400 pounds, at 500 pounds, I thought I knew about nutrition. I thought I knew about eating. I knew what I needed to do to be at a healthy weight because I had tried these other diets in the past and they got me close, or they showed me some success.
Ego trap. I'm 48 seconds on the phone. I already know what the problem is. I haven't even stepped into New York in 7 years, and I can hear it from Brooklyn.
Oh no, Karen, YouTube didn't notify you. That's I didn't set it up very much before I actually started the stream, so it might not have notified you because I only had it set up for about 10 minutes before I actually went live. But we're just going over Dr. Lisle's video here on the ego trap.
I already know what the problem is. The problem is that the kid is pretty smart, and sometime there in the 5th grade got straight A's from some nice teacher who graded easily, and now that becomes my kid's a straight A student. Your kid isn't a...
Yeah, I dieted 8 years ago. I was a great dieter. I know all about health because I lost 80 pounds or 100 pounds 9 years ago.
Straight A student. Kid got straight A's once, maybe twice. Kid's not brilliant. Kid's very bright. Brilliant's Albert Einstein. Brilliant is Hawkins. Brilliant is Richard Dawkins. William Hamilton. Thomas Edison. Brilliant is not her son.
And great dieter was not me. I got 520 pounds. I wasn't a healthy person. I wasn't anywhere close to a healthy person. And I had those glimmers of healthiness or healthfulness in my past, but the result that was, sitting in front of the camera 2 years ago was not a healthy person.
Flashes of brilliance? My son has flashes of brilliance. Well, that's great. Glad to see it. Nice little sparkles in there. Probably going to do well in the world. Probably, if he has sparkles of brilliance, he's got university level chops. Good. But your son isn't brilliant. But that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. And they're saying that behind a multitude of motivations. One of them is they want to, well, one of the biggest things that they're doing is they're trying to sell the child's genetic cachet to the village in order to improve their mating prospects when the 11-year-old becomes 21. They don't know why they're doing this. These are human instincts. This is mom selling her DNA. Okay?
Karen, you said your Tuesday night group watched my presentation on the Truth About Weight Loss Summit last night. That's awesome. I hope they enjoyed it. And if any of them have questions from what I said, send them this way. But that's awesome that they watched that. So that's great.
Now, so she's selling the DNA, and in doing so, she also thinks that encouraging her son by he seems to be lacking confidence, so I'm going to tell him how great he is. Well, when you tell somebody how great they are, you're absolutely undermining their confidence.
And when you look back at how great your old diets were, you think of how great it was to lose that weight 8 years ago, how great it was to lose that weight 12 years ago. But then you also think about how much effort did I have to put in to lose that weight when I lost that weight those times? And, how difficult was it to sustain it? And, I wasn't able to, and I fell off, and if I wasn't that strong to keep doing it when I had all that weight off of me, how am I going to be able to keep doing it this time again?
You're making it inevitable that you have undermined their confidence. Now, so this is instincts going exactly backwards, that this is very poor management of people's motivational psychology. So the solution is to tell the kid that they're incompetent and they cannot possibly succeed. Oh, listen to that. I saw cringes in the crowd. Do you have any idea how well that works?
And, I think that kind of works with dieting too. And I think that's what ends up motivating a lot of people to finally start their diet or get going with their diet, is that underdog story that they've finally built in their head that they're going to do it this time. And, because they had failed in the past and they got that voice in their head saying, good luck, buddy. We've seen this rodeo before. I'll give it a week and we'll be back on that, back to the buffet line. So we, that internal dialogue ends up being our motivator that gets us to finally get going. Oh, hit the wrong button.
It's unbelievable how that works. And that is exactly what I do. And it has never failed clinically. Okay? So I kick mom out of the room or off the phone or whatever it is, and I tell the kid, you poor kid, I know what's going on. What a mess. Kid's like, I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's a weird dude. Okay? So, well, I know what's going on. I know that you got good grades before, but that's no longer the case. You're now in 9th grade, and that's no longer going to be possible for you. And it's not going to be possible because all the other kids that are smart kids have parents who are doing their homework and writing their essays and doing all their projects for them, and your parents aren't doing your fair share. And if they're not doing their fair share and down there lobbying the teacher for everything, for every grade, then the best you're going to be able to get at best might be a B average. And so just count on it that that's what it is. So all that stuff your parents promise you to do your best, and if you'll just do this or that, just forget about it. I'm going to tell them to give it all to you if you can get at least half C's and half B's. If you can get half C's and half B's, which I'm not so sure that you're going to be able to get.
And it's hard to, have that internal dialogue here, but this is the solution he's giving, is that you have to realize that you're not going to be perfect with your diet. You have to give up on that idea that you're going to be there. But the striving for it shouldn't go away. You should strive for perfection or to be better than you are currently. But you need to realize that, or I needed to realize before I started this, that I was 520 pounds. Like, you suck at dieting, John. Like, you'll be lucky to make it a week. You'll be lucky to do it at all. And eventually, you have to make that, you have to make that change in your mindset and your attitude that he's trying to show this kid, that, by telling him that, to lower his expectations.
But if you do that, then you get it all. Boy Scout Jamboree Camp, Coonskin Cap, Pokemon, whatever it is that you want, you get it.
Barb here says that perfectionism is such a high standard, but often that's the standard we set for ourselves. This gives us a way out without having to completely give up. Somehow that seems easier. Yeah. And it's if I'm not perfect, if I can't get 95% on this test, I'm not even going to do it, like, when all you had to do was get at least 60%, but you set it up. Cindy here says, with my history of dieting, or with me, John's history of dieting, how were you able to stick to the water fast for 42 days? It was, I had been dabbling with water fasting for the year or 2 years prior to me starting this channel. I would try to do a 3-day water fast, or I had done some 3-day water fast, 5-day water fast. And then I was able in 2019 to do a 30-day water fast on my own. And that kind of gave me the confidence that my body could water fast. I watched lots of videos of people that were doing water fasting, something that the people like Dr. Lisle here talk about at the True North Clinic, is that water fasting is a physiological adaptation that humans have. So we have the ability to water fast. So a lot of it was being confident that it was possible to do. The success I was seeing from the dramatic weight loss was very motivating to, keeping me on track, or keeping me on my water fast as well. The history with dieting, I think that I always struggled with was, what am I going to do after this point? Because all the diets I did in the past, and even when I was water fasting, I knew that they were not permanent solutions. They were these diets that 90-pound teenage girls eat that I was using to take myself from a 400-pound person trying to get as close to 300 or 275 as I could get. Uh, and I didn't ever have a plan for, well, what's after that? You know, it was always, well, what's after that is I get to go back to the way I used to eat. And when I did that 30-day water fast in 2019, I went back to the way I used to eat, and all of the weight I lost, you know, it just came back on. So when I did the water fast this time, it was a lot more about like, what am I going to do to eat? What am I gonna, um, how am I gonna eat after this part of my diet? And so, but being able to stick to it was just experience with doing it, and confidence.
The kid thinks I'm a total idiot. They laugh at me and they're frustrated and they're a little bit angry. Why? Because I am underestimating them and I am unfairly pegging them as a low ability person. And now they want to prove me wrong. They are laughing in relief because they no longer have the situation where somebody is telling them, you're here, where they know they're here. Instead, they know they're here and I'm saying you're here. I want you to think about the difference in motivation between two boxers. One of them is the heavyweight champion of the world, but suspects greatly like the #1 contender can beat them. They're pretty sure that they're going to be beaten. How do they feel about going into the ring? They don't want to go in the ring.
I don't know, maybe you're that heavyweight boxer and the dieting, you know, that last diet you were on, you were the champion of that diet, and you know, you're afraid that the next diet is going to beat you again. You know, like you don't want to go up and fail again.
They're going to lose a lot of status. Talk to their lawyer, complain about the contract. They want to hold on to the status as long as they can, and they dread the day that they're going to go in and be humiliated.
Maybe that speaks to the humiliation that you feel when, you know, that I feel when I think about all the boasting I did about my previous diets. You know, when I lost 100 pounds in the past, and people would ask me what I was doing, I would be very excited to share what I was doing. And then, you know, then having to change my complete mindset about eating. You know, I had to kind of humble myself and realize that I don't know anything about food, and I need to be willing to change.
Okay? If, however, let's suppose that you're the #10 boxer in the world, and you believe that all the ranking systems are underestimating you, because quietly you have had a new coach for the last 6 months, and you have developed a bunch of new techniques, and you've actually understood things much better than you've ever understood before, and quietly in sparring sessions, you clearly are much better than you were a year ago, and you are way underrated. And you're about to meet the #3 contender in the world. How do you feel? You can't wait. You are so excited. You're so amped up and so motivated, right? Because you are being underrated. The solution to the ego trap is to get the expectations right. If anything, you get them low. That's how you do it.
And with your dieting, do that same thing. You have to realize that that expectation that you've had with your past diets of going to the gym 5 times a week and eating 1,200 calories and less a day, you have to let that go. Hey, Rebecca, hello. We're just watching Dr. Lisle here talk about the ego trap. I hope the audio's coming through well for everybody on here.
Okay? Your expectations for yourself. We had somebody ask a question earlier about going home and staying on track, and then how do you stop yourself from kicking over the table? Kicking over the table is a result of the ego trap. Kicking over the table is when you start to not do things perfectly, and now you realize somehow the expectations that there was some magical process that was going to take place at 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 14 weeks or 16 weeks where I did perfectly, and then suddenly I'm not going to be lured by the ego trap. And it's not true, and you stumble, and you struggle, and now what happens? Ooh, you're falling short of the expectations that were somehow imbued upon you at True North. And so now what do?
Well, it doesn't even have to be in, here it's the expectations you put on yourself when you first started. How many times have you started a diet and you were perfect for the first week, the first month, the first 2 months, or even 6 months, even on this diet, I felt like I was perfect for the first 11 months. And I had to let go of that idea of perfection. And once I had to let go of that idea of perfection once I broke that possibility. Once we went out and had that meal after we met the governor, that would have that could have been the thing that ended my diet. That would have been the thing that ended every other diet that I'd ever been on, was having that one perfect thing get wiped out. And with this diet, I lost that perfection that day, but I didn't lose the ability to be 99% perfect. I still have the ability to be 90% perfect, or even being 80% perfect might get me close to where I want to be, or a lot closer. It's going to get me a lot closer to where I want to be than just giving up and getting 10% on the test. I'd rather get 80% on the test than get 10%. So you need to keep working at it and realize that perfection isn't possible for everyone. And it shouldn't be, you have to match your expectations with reality. And like you said, even underestimate yourself a bit.
You kick over the table and you make it abundantly clear to yourself and everybody else that you're no longer trying. That is the self-destructive motivation of the ego trap. That is one of the most difficult obstacles that takes place in this or any addiction type treatment. It is one of the biggest problems in alcohol treatment. It's in cigarettes. It's in major drug addiction. The expectations get too high, and when we start to falter, just kick over the table and demonstrate, you can't judge me on my performance right now because I'm clearly not trying.
Right? I was clearly not trying to diet in 2019. Was clearly not trying to diet in 2018. People would ask me, "Oh, I can't believe you're eating that. That's crazy. How much food you're eating. Are you sure you should be drinking all that Diet Pepsi?" I was clearly not trying. It was made it apparent to people that I wasn't trying, because even if I would have grabbed a salad, then I would have given the impression that maybe I was trying. If I grabbed a salad at the buffet line before we ate dinner, oh, he must be trying to eat healthier. No. I'm not even trying to eat healthy. I'm skipping the salad bar. I'm going straight to the fried chicken and the dessert table.
That is a very destructive dynamic. Okay? The solution is be smart about where we put the expectations. If you look at yourself and your behavior the 2 months before you came here, the question is, can you improve it? Are there things that you can mechanically do in your environment, essentially routines that you can add that will be an improvement? If you think about what those things are and think about some of the things that it is that you can do that you can change. A better set of knives, 3 chopping blocks instead of the one that you can't find, okay?
I talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I used that example with the knives and the chopping blocks. You set yourself up for success get some of the utensils or the kitchen appliances that make eating this way easier. Look into getting a pressure cooker like an Instapot. Look into getting a Vitamix or a high-speed blender. Look into, maybe getting an air fryer if you wanted to try doing some air fried foods. But there's a lot of kitchen appliances that will make staying on this diet easier. And like he talks about routine. Me and Carrie, the Instapot we have has a timer on it. So every night she takes the time to put our breakfast in the Instapot. She puts the oatmeal in there and sets the timer so that when we get up in the morning, our food is already there and ready for us. So even if we're running late and we have to run out the door quickly, we still have enough time to scoop that food into a bowl so that when we're driving down the road and we say, oh, I'm hungry, our best option is to eat that bowl of oatmeal instead of stopping at the fast food restaurant, while we're driving down the road.
A day every week where we shop for vegetables so we know there's stuff in the refrigerator. If we make some better routines and we execute on those routines fairly routinely, then you can improve this next year over the year that just passed. That should be the goal. The goal is, can you make improvements? The goal is not to set the bar where an Alan Goldhamer or a Jeff Novick or a Chef AJ would put them. Those people have their own lives, they have their own personalities, they got their own motivations, and they're not you. Okay? Your job should be, and I assume that it is, that if you're at a place like this, you're looking for improvement. Okay? And so learn a few things, add a few new tools, add some new twists and twirls to how it is that you live this thing, and make some improvement. And when you do, okay, congratulate yourself, because that was the goal. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
So that was the video. I really like that video. Let me go back over to this here. The last bit he was talking about there, I think, is something that we get so lost in trying to get to our goal. We don't think about just being in a better spot than we are. When I started this challenge, I thought that when I got to 300 pounds, I would be healthy. And when I got to 219 pounds, that's when I would be healthy. And what I'm realizing is that I'm getting healthier along the way. Every day, I'm healthier than I was the day prior. I'm healthier than I would have been had I made the choices that I used to make. Plants Only Muncher says that Dr. Stephen Esser always says, strive for excellence, but you don't have to be perfect. Right. And you're not going to be perfect the first day. The Nolan Ryan, or the pitchers that, a pitcher that pitches a perfect game didn't pitch a perfect game the first day they went out on the mound when they were in third grade and started playing baseball. It took them from third grade until they got to, you've never thrown a pitch before. You might get a strike in, you might get lucky and they swing at a bad pitch, but you're not gonna strike them out the first time. But if you spend 20 years practicing throwing that ball towards that batter, you might find a way to beat that batter. And that's what you have to do with your weight loss. That's why you have to spend, you may have to spend 20 years trying to figure out how to beat your obesity. It shouldn't take that long, but it might take 5 years. It might take 7 years. It might take 2, it's probably going to take you longer than you thought. That's the 3-year challenge, like that. I set my expectation, at the time. I thought that I was setting my expectation low. When I started this, I thought I could, if I'm losing weight at a good clip, I could lose 300 pounds faster than 3 years, and then I could spend the last year maintaining my weight loss. And as I'm getting closer to that 3-year mark, I'm realizing that I had overestimated my ability, and now I have to re-estimate that ability. And now I'm looking at losing that weight within 4 years, or maybe even, I did the math yesterday, it could be an extra 20 or 30 days. So, that's not a bad guess. If it takes me 30 extra days to get to my goal weight, when my original guess was 3 years, that's not off by much, but I may have still overestimated my abilities. And I was giving myself lots of room to get there when I did that. And Rebecca here says that is what she tries to do, is to just make improvements. She says that is a great video. I really like the video. I think it talks about our behavior. It really, with me and Carrie having 4 kids, I see it in my kids. I see it, when I talk to them. The other day I was even like, I was talking up how well my kid's going to do in something. And I want to encourage them. I'm not going to start talking like Dr. Lisle necessarily says to talk to the kids, but I need to make sure my kids know that I am not the reason why they should be striving for, that them not getting to doing perfect in their concert or doing perfect in their performance isn't going to make me think less of them. And try to keep them from flipping that chessboard over as much as possible. Rebecca here says, what would be my top 5 tools or appliances to help us with eating more of this way? Well, number 1 would be a chopping block and a good knife. That would be the first kind of thing that I think of when I think about every day. That chopping block gets used, those knives get used to cut up the foods that we eat. So that would be one of the top things that I would say. The next thing would be the Instapot. That's easily the most used appliance in our house is the Instapot. Again, just about every day. Sarasota, Florida says the microwave. Yes, the microwave gets used quite a bit. It is one of those underrated kitchen appliances, maybe, or it's a not thought out kitchen appliance. The stove top would also be another one. Sorry, there was something on the floor that was bugging me. Yeah, the microwave. I do end up using the microwave a decent bit. So knives, Instapot. We have a Breville, like 9-in-1 air fryer, dehydrator, stove, toaster oven thing that I really like. I really like using that. We bake a lot of things in it because it heats up a lot quicker, and just it's nice to have that. I was just thinking we should do our cobblers in there. We aren't doing the oats on the cobbler, so I don't know if you call it cobbler. I think you just call it a bowl of cooked fruit. Yeah, we use that a decent bit. I guess the microwave, because Barb says here a double broiler or a steamer basket. I use our microwave as our steamer, so that would be a good, a steamer basket would be good if you don't want to do it in a microwave. I'm trying to think of, this is such a better question for Carrie than it is me, probably. But those are the ones that we use a lot of. Now, so the other one I mentioned earlier too is the Vitamix, high-speed blender. You can use a regular blender, but having a high-speed blender really makes it nice for doing some of those sauces and the things that you want to be creamier. And then the so that's another good one here. Cindy says that she has a range, a fridge with a freezer, and a knife and cutting board, and that's all she needs for her stuff. So yeah, you can get by with real simple, like I said, a knife. You're gonna probably need it'd probably be difficult to eat this way without having a way to cut it up. But yeah. Barbara says here the appliances is the Instapot, the Breville Pro Air Fryer Oven. I'm not sure if it's specifically just air fryer. Glass containers for batch cooking, a blender, an immersion blender if you're making soups or fruit sauces, and silicone pans. We use what are they? They're like baking stones, whatever that is, and a food processor. Yes. Yeah, those are all great. That's it all is going to come down to how much you want to put into what you're eating as far as processing what you're going to eat. What I think is the most important thing is that you stop letting other people process your food for you. You go and buy the raw materials to make your food, and then you do the processing. We blend our own foods. We don't buy foods necessarily that are pre-blended or pre-cooked or pre-anything. A lot of our food is the only is pre-packaged, but it's in the produce aisle. It's things that have single ingredient on them, and then we get them home and we process them ourselves. And we want to have more complex foods that requires a higher level of processing. We buy more of these kitchen appliances and these things. When what we find is that our food costs overall really have gone down, and that money that we're saving by not paying somebody to process our food, we can then take that money and put into buying our own tools for processing, because you can eat this way for very cheap. You don't have to be spending a ton of money. I spent for this lunch whatever it costs to buy 5 potatoes, which is probably like $1, and then 97 cents for the bowl of the bag of broccoli. I ate a lunch for $2. I used to go to Long John Silver's and spend $21 on my lunch. So I'm nearly spending $20 less, or I'm spending a tenth on my lunch versus what I used to buy. And if I'd have taken all of that food and balled it up and tried to fit it into this bowl, it probably would have filled this bowl, but it wouldn't have been an abundant amount of food more than what I ate now. And when you look at the calories of what I ate and the content of what I ate when I had those meals, it was absurd, So, so just try to process your food on your own. Go back to the medieval times, or the dark ages, when they didn't have corporations that were making huge amounts of food. Let's see. Karen says that their top 5 are cutting boards and knife, a rice cooker, which we just got a rice cooker, Breville air fryer and oven, the stove top itself, and a food processor. Tennis and Yoga Girl here says, buy food, prep food, and eat your own food. Yes, don't have other people processing it. Tennis and Yoga Girl says that they use a knife, a cutting board, oven, stovetop, and refrigerator. Nothing fancier needed. And they're able to make foods that they're happy with. And their foods can have all the same ingredients as our foods. They just, if they don't have the high-speed blender, it's just not blended the same. It's still blended maybe, or it's, but yeah. Let's see here. Barbara says Nutmeg Notebook. YouTubes also have gadget ideas. Yep, they are a great spot for a lot of the kitchen stuff and cooking. You know, like I show that I eat food, and I do make some of my food, but I am definitely not a chef. I'm just somebody trying to lose some weight. Let's see. Barbara said sprout jars and herb garden if you are so inclined. Again, you're not even you're making your own food when you do the sprouts in the herb gardens. Like, you don't even need to pay anybody to do the farming of it yourself, which gives you so much more control over your food. And then Barbara also says lots of spices, mustard, and vinegar. Cindy says that fast food fast food is expensive. There's no cheap fast food, but yes, it can be expensive. Cindy says that they spend $55 a week on average for your groceries, and most of that is organic, which is probably high in cost, I'm sure. Yeah, I would spend $55 in a day. You know, if over the course of 2 days, I easily spent over $55 for food on myself. If we went to a restaurant, you know, I mean, that would have been $20 just to sit down at the restaurant, you know, and that's one of 3 meals that, you know, I probably had a $10 or $15 fast food meal earlier that day. So yeah, it's incredible how cheap this diet can end up being. But you just have to stop paying people to do, because nobody does the process. They don't process your food for free, and they have to compete with other people that are processing food. So and then have to spend that money advertising and marketing to you, so you buy their food versus the competitor's food. So then you're paying for the cost of them to process the food, and also the cost of them to sell that food to you. And you don't get any nutritional benefit from those profit margins. You're not benefiting from spending more money on this food when you could just buy the fruit or vegetable yourself and kind of make your own mix or make your own thing. So, anyways, yes. And yeah, this diet can be whatever you want it to be, you know, like it's such a there's such a variation, you know, there's and I think that's why this diet is, I think so many people would succeed if they would give this diet a shot. You know, it's just giving it a shot. It's getting out of their own way. Stop letting their ego get in the way of trying something new that they, you know, they don't have any idea of what it is. You know, like I didn't have any idea what it was before I started. So, but I am gonna hop out of here for the weekend. We got Easter coming up this weekend for anybody that celebrates Easter. So I know it's going to be crazy all weekend, but I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I hope that the weather is wonderful where you are. Yes, Cindy, you have a great weekend too. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. If you are watching still and you haven't hit that like button, make sure you click on that like button on the video. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, get subscribed. If you haven't clicked on the bell icon, do that. Yes, thanks, Rebecca. Great conversation. Thanks. Yeah, I really enjoyed it today. Let me know what you thought of doing the reaction kind of thing. I hope I don't get any type of copyright issue because of it. But if I do, well, I'll deal with it. But yeah, let me know what you thought about that. If there's any other videos that you might want me to go over on stream and see what I have to say, you know, let me know. what videos are out there. Yeah, Glow, you have a great weekend too. I'm gonna get out of here. If you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. There's nobody that gets to their goals, looks back and says, man, I don't know why I was in such a hurry. I wish I would have waited. Nobody says that. Everybody looks back and says, I don't know what I was thinking. I should have done this 6 months ago. I should have done this 10 years ago. Nobody looks back and regrets getting started. So get started right now. You guys all have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday.